Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episode 2 of season 3 of Harley Quinn. So yeah, last time was basically just a return episode. It was to get us hyped for the return of the series, kind of bring us up to speed with what's going on with Harley and everyone else, and just to kind of really hammer in that Harley and Ivy are a couple now. Like, it was really intense with that. It really wanted to tell us that these two are a couple. They fuck very often. And they're just ready to take over, basically. And it gives to us kind of what seems to be some setups for the season, with Amanda Waller coming in as possibly the main central antagonist of the season, and introducing, at least for now, the plan. The plan is that Harley is going to help Ivy with a goal of terraforming the Earth, putting it back in control of the plants and living through things that way. But we know this series, and we know that things are not going to go according to plan. Shit's going to change. And yeah, we know that it's going to definitely move in a different direction eventually. Because remember, I believe it was last season, season 2, where it started off with Harley trying to take over Gotham for herself by taking out all the other villains who were leading the different sections of it. And eventually it just kind of abandoned that. Like, that eventually just stopped being the focus. Because that was only the starting goal of the season. It was not where the season was actually fully going. I think it might end up being the same here, because honestly, like, terraforming the planet and everything, one, would be an extremely difficult job, even for Poison Ivy. And two, that would also kind of honestly ruin a lot of the show. If we're being honest, we can't actually have her succeed in that. Because it would kind of hurt the possibility of the future. And I believe there's a season 4 of this series already greenlit. Pun intended. So it's like, they can't really have Ivy succeed here. It just wouldn't work. But I also want to look up something real quick while we're here. Because I actually had a question about something that I actually forgot to look up after last time. And that's how many episodes this is going to be. Because I actually haven't heard about that. How many episodes season 3 is supposed to have. Okay, according to this, it is scheduled for 10 episodes. Which is, I feel, pretty standard currently. Yeah, according to this, season 3 of Harley Quinn will include 10 episodes, with the first 3 dropping on July 28th. Yeah, because I mentioned last time the first 3 dropped at the same time. Check this here real quick. I'm just checking a couple different sources to try and make sure of that, you know? Yes, it is set for 10 episodes, according to this, which is 3 less than both of the previous seasons. But also, the previous seasons were on the DC Universe network, while this one's on HBO Max exclusively. So that there is a difference there, a different network and everything. Plus, both of the previous seasons were a lot closer together. This one took a little longer to get done and everything, it seems. Because season 1 started in November of 2019 and season 2 was April of 2020. Then you had a couple years until season 3. But 10 episodes is still fine. 3 episodes less than normal. That can still work, I feel. So yeah. 10 episodes. We have gone through one. We'll just kind of handle it as it goes. We'll probably do most of them just one episode at a time, but we might do the last 2 together. I don't know. We'll see. But like I said, the first 3 were initially dropped together, and we're just getting to episode 2 here. So, yeah. Oh my. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'm hoping we get more into the actual plot of things and really start moving things forward with this episode now. We can still have sexy Harley stuff and everything, and having them being super mushy as a couple. I'm all for that. I'm always all for the gay. But we do need to move plot stuff forward too. Especially if there's 3 episodes less than normal. That stuff definitely needs to move forward a little quicker than before. It just does. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. We'll see how the characters run and what they run with in this season. And I'm hoping for some good shit. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, this episode did definitely progress with the plan, except not entirely in the ways that we expected. So, I'm going to try to talk about each of like the different sections of this episode because it's kind of split into 3 different like parts. There's the Bane stuff, the Bat family stuff, and then the Harley squad stuff. Let's start with the Bane stuff because that's the least important and honestly I think the quickest to get through. Why? What was the point of having the Bane stuff in here? Like, Bane is a fun, entertaining character in this series, but I don't feel this was necessary. I don't think it added anything to his character. Like, there's the entire thing about him maybe needing to get therapy and maybe being depressed, but all in all, it's like, what did that actually add? Nothing he did, no part of Bane's part in this episode seemed necessary at all. It just seemed like it was a waste of time, and more of that could have been added to the Bat family or the Harley stuff. Like his credit card getting declined at the weapons shop and everything. Like there's some absurdity in the humor there, like the fact that there's a shop the villains can go buy weapons and bombs and stuff at, but it's like I just don't see the point in all of that and what it really added to the episode. The Bat family stuff, on the other hand, was a little more interesting, with the episode kind of kicking off by introducing us to Dick Grayson, Nightwing, who has been in Bloodhaven this entire time. We see that at first, Dick is trying to be overly edgy. He's trying to be, like, needlessly serious and ridiculously intense, I guess you could say. It basically reads as like the Nightwing, the Dick Grayson from the Titans series, who's kind of that way. You know, the entire fuck Batman Nightwing from that. And that might be the point. That might be what they were trying to make fun of with that. But by the end of the episode, he becomes more of the, you could say, classic Nightwing. Still trying to be taken seriously, but accepting being part of the Bat family and, you know, actually working together with them, having more of a legitimate personality instead of just being too try-hard. I also like that we got a lot of Babs in this episode, because I really do like this series' version of Batgirl, of Babs. I've always been a fan of Batgirl in general. But it's like there's certain, obviously, iterations that I like just a little bit more than others, and this one was actually really good. I like her personality. I like her character. We saw her previously in the series. And even with her interactions with Ivy and Harley, it's just like she's really good. And her VA, Brianna, I think it is, Brianna Cuoco? Kaylee Cuoco's sister. She does a great job. She legitimately does a really great job. She's believable. She's likable. She's just exceptionally fun, and it's just like she's of all the Bat family members, I think she's honestly kind of my favorite here. Like you could say like, oh, Batman's kind of funny with the way he's being portrayed in this. It's kind of entertaining how Damian is an absolute little shit and everything. Alfred is pretty fun, but it's like, let's be honest. Babs steals the show. She's just so fucking good in this series. And yeah, she was great in this. Her interactions with Dick, her interactions even with Harley and whatnot later on in the episode really just worked on every level. But then we have the Harley stuff. And I'm going to connect it back with the Bat family stuff in a minute here. So, Ivy takes charge of the group as the leader of this plan to terraform Gotham, which they were talking about more terraforming the world last time, but I guess they're at least just starting with Gotham. It's a more doable goal, let's be honest. That's something they could actually do. So, Ivy reveals, okay, in order to do this, we need to steal this mosquito from the museum. But we see during this that Ivy's not having an easy time leading the group, and she's not really great at explaining the plan to everyone. So she gives them these binders laying everything out instead. And she's not a great leader, and we see that in this. That she's never really led a group before. She's worked with them, but usually with Harley as the leader. And Harley works as a leader. She knows how to like rally the crew together. So she's always kind of taken that charge. But Ivy never really has. Ivy definitely reads to me in this series, mind you, is most what I'm talking about. But she definitely reads to me as someone who is just very... I don't want to just say very much a follower, because that's like obvious. Like if she's not a leader, she's a follower. But there's another way to put it, and I can't think of it. She very much comes across to me as someone who's got issues, I guess you could say, trying to take command. Which is, again, obvious, but again, I don't know how to word this better. There's something I was trying to think of, and I just can't think of it. She's not good with commanding others, and finds it to be extremely awkward and difficult. Plus, she has a little bit of a perfectionist attitude, as we find out in this, that makes it so that she's extremely nervous about fucking up. And we see, after they get out of the museum after some trouble, we can see that she's still having trouble and still feeling very down about it, especially after what happens. She uses the mosquito to craft the serum and tries it out with the plants underneath the mall. And it seems to work at first, but then the thing starts to mutate and turn horrific. And oh my god, it is like that scene was like a lot, and it's just a lot of what I was not expecting. It's mutating and kind of like blowing up practically to the point where it's an excessive. It's clearly meant to be in excessive pain to the point where it jumps in a vat of chemicals just to commit suicide. It's like, oh my god, Jesus. And the thing is, more than even just viewing it as, myself, it's just because of the context behind everything, my mind instantly went to how Ivy was viewing this. As someone who's deeply connected to plant life, and as someone who cares greatly for plant life and everything, like, oh my god, like, I'm surprised that didn't do more to full out traumatize her. That was absolutely horrific, just as a regular person viewing that. But as someone like Ivy, I'm surprised that she didn't like shit her pants and pass out or something. I'm genuinely not kidding here. I genuinely feel she should have had a much bigger reaction to that, because that was genuinely horrific. And that was clearly the point, and the animators and everything did a phenomenal job with that. But oh my god, it's like that upset me. And then yeah, they end up Harley ends up seeing this advertisement for an escape room after Ivy just kind of pushes her away because she just wants to try and do this on her own. She feels there's just too much going on. So Harley ends up tricking Ivy into coming to the escape room, and they find out eventually that it's run by the Riddler, because of fucking course it is. And so they have to escape or die. And luckily for them, they're not the only ones who had this idea. Also in the escape room is the Bat family, who has come because Nightwing is not working well with them after having returned. They went to try and take out Firefly while he was, being Firefly, basically. And it didn't go well because Nightwing was not working well with the others. So they also went into the escape room, and yeah, we see that they end up being split apart by Riddler's puzzles and everything. Nightwing and Ivy end up being paired together, the two who are having the most trouble with their teams at the moment. While you see like Batgirl and Harley and everything, but it mostly focuses on Ivy and Nightwing here, and we see how they have to basically give in to the possibility of failure to escape, which is kind of what both of them needed. Ivy was, she was having some perfectionist issues, so she needed to give in to the idea that failure is a part of the process, and it helped her. And I think Nightwing was very much the same. Dick was trying to be this perfect hero, trying to prove he could do it without Batman. But in the end, it just ended up hurting him, and he needed to acknowledge that he's not going to be the perfect hero, and he just needs to be the hero that is needed from him. So I think it helped with both of them in that way. And everybody manages to get out. It all works out. I guess they get their mugs and their photos. All is good. But it comes to Ivy coming to terms with the fact that she needs to just calm down and let things happen. So she tries the serum again, does some different adjustments to it, and it seems to work at first, but once again things go wrong with it. This time, the issues kind of stem from, pun intended, the plant melting. Horrifically melting, mind you. Not as horrific as the first plant, but still horrific. The dandelion or whatever. And then, causing even more trouble with basically destroying the mall. With all the plant life just, like, fucking everything up because of all of that. And it just, like, seeps into the ground and not really blows up, but destroys the mall at its base. What's the word for it? I hate it when I can't think of a word, especially when it seems so simple. Foundation, that's it. Destroying the mall at its foundation. Which causes the entire thing to come down, which means they need a new base. So that's going to be a thing. They need a new layer. But in the process, Frank is affected by the serum and is mutated. He gains full-on arms and legs and everything, and apparently the ability to fly and shit. Frank has evolved, Pokemon style. So that's really interesting. I wonder how that's going to affect his character and just the evolution of things going forward. Genuinely interesting. But yeah, this was a pretty good follow-up to the first episode. Ivy's struggle to kind of find her way as the leader of this plan and everything was actually really well done. And I love the Bat Family stuff integrated into this too. My only issue with this episode was the Bane stuff feeling completely unnecessary and just a waste of time, honestly. But that's just one small thing, and overall I still enjoyed it. So, for now, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of Harley Quinn Season 3, and yeah, for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.